Okay, so get ready, because today we're diving deep into the world of angels.
Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at book angels as our guide.
Yeah, this book really dives into it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's really comprehensive.
But you know what I find really interesting is just this idea of angels. This is something that people have been fascinated by for centuries.
It's true.
Like, it really kind of makes you think about, there's some sort of universal curiosity we have about, the divine and other realms and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And they're everywhere. Like, I feel like angels pop up in art and literature and just even regular conversation all the time.
Definitely.
But you're right, this book really goes deeper than that surface level stuff.
Absolutely.
So let's start with the basics. For anybody who maybe hasn't thought about angels too much before,
Okay.
what exactly is an angel? And why do you think they have such a prominent place in our collective imagination?
Well, it's interesting because the book defines angels as messengers of the divine. And it makes sense if you think about the root of the word itself.
Okay.
Like, angel comes from the Greek word angelos, which means messenger. So really, it's like, the original text message,
Yeah.
but with a lot more weight to it, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we often picture angels as, aside from the wings in human form.
Right.
Like, it makes this whole idea of a messenger from beyond a little bit easier to wrap our minds around.
Absolutely. And, even those depictions, while symbolic, really highlight that these beings are intermediaries
Right.
between the earthly and the divine.
Yeah, sure.
This sort of bridge between those worlds.
So speaking of divine intervention, this book is absolutely packed with stories of people having angelic encounters,
Yeah.
some of them dating back centuries.
Of course.
So let's dive into a couple, shall we?
Sure, let's do it.
One that immediately came to mind for me was the whole biblical account of Sodom and Gomorrah. You've got the angels being sent to warn Lot and his family about the impending destruction.
Right.
It's just a really powerful example of angels kind of intervening in human affairs, and often in pretty dramatic fashion.
Yeah. And, often with a message, too.
Yes.
A lot of times these encounters, even going back to Sodom and Gomorrah, really point to a need to sort of change our ways or to heed of certain kind of warning or guidance.
And let's not forget about Lot's wife.
Oh, right.
Talk about a cautionary tale.
Yeah. What do you think about that part of the story?
I don't know. It makes you wonder if those kinds of consequences for disobedience were really a thing back then, or if it was just a really effective way to really drive home the point.
It's definitely a story that sticks with you.
For sure.
And, that's just one example we see throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
You've got the angel Raphael guiding Tobias on his journey. You've got the angel of death in Egypt.
Right.
And, of course, all the numerous appearances of angels to Mary and Jesus.
Yeah, it seems like whenever things reach kind of a critical point in those stories, boom, angel appears.
Right.
But what's so interesting is that these encounters aren't just ancient history.
No, they're not.
The book also mentions this fascinating account from World War II.
Okay.
A tail gunner falls 15,000 feet without a parachute and survives.
Wow.
And he credits his survival to an angel.
Really, it's
Yeah.
amazing how even in those moments of, what we might call like crisis or extreme danger,
Right.
these accounts, both ancient and modern, really highlight the role of angels as protectors.
Yeah.
And sometimes their methods are, kind of drastic.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it makes you wonder if these experiences, regardless of how you personally interpret them, maybe just speak to a deeper human need that we have.
Absolutely.
This need for reassurance that someone or something is looking out for us, especially in those really dark times.
I think that's a really good point. And, it speaks to this idea that maybe we're not alone
Yeah.
and that there's something benevolent out there.
Right.
That's kind of watching over us.
Yeah.
So now shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
the guidebook also delves into the organization of angels.
Okay.
This idea of angelic hierarchies or choirs.
Angelic hierarchies, right? It's like
Right.
somebody took those organizational charts to a whole other level.
It's true. The book draws on this Kabbalistic tradition,
Okay.
and it describes these 9 distinct choirs of angels,
Ryan,
each with its own unique purpose and position within the celestial hierarchy.
9 choirs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of voices to wrangle.
Yeah.
What's the thinking behind this kind of structure?
Well, it's important to remember that these hierarchies are symbolic.
Okay.
They're representing different aspects of the divine and their relationship to the created world.
Yeah, okay.
It's less about actual chains of command
Right.
and more about providing a framework for understanding these complex spiritual concepts.
So it's more about nuanced relationships than like who's got the biggest halo.
Exactly. For instance, you have the seraphim,
Right.
often depicted as the closest to the divine, representing pure light and love. Then you have the cherubim associated with knowledge and wisdom,
Okay.
and then the thrones who embody divine justice and authority.
It's fascinating how these ancient systems tried to really make sense of you know, this unseen world,
Right.
assigning roles and responsibilities even to celestial beings.
Yeah.
But this is where it gets really intriguing for me.
Okay.
Because amidst all these choirs and these hierarchies, there's this concept of personal guardian angels.
Right. And this is where Book Angels gets really personal.
Okay.
It suggests that we each have a guardian angel specifically assigned to guide and protect us throughout our lives.
So like a celestial wingman, but maybe with fewer high fives.
Right.
I'm curious, does the guidebook say anything about how to figure out who our guardian angel might be?
It does. It actually links specific angels to birth dates.
No way.
It's a fascinating system that connects each angel with certain qualities and attributes.
So it's like a cosmic personality test, but instead of Myers-Briggs, it's angel-based. I'm totally here for it.
Yeah.
Could you give us an example of how this works?
Absolutely. Let's take the angel Vahaya.
Okay.
According to this system, if you were born between March 21st and 25th, Vahoya might be your guardian angel.
Okay.
And Vahoya is associated with qualities of transformation and success.
So for all our listeners born under that sign, maybe Vahaya has been whispering words of encouragement and guidance all along.
Could be.
What's fascinating is that even if you take this with a grain of salt,
Right.
it encourages you to think about the unseen forces that might be influencing your path.
For sure.
But beyond our birth angels,
Yeah.
what else does this book say about how guardian angels actually operate in our lives?
Well, one of the most compelling ideas is that our guardian angels are always with us,
Okay.
even if we aren't consciously aware of them.
Okay.
They're like silent partners, offering subtle guidance through our intuition, through our dreams, or even just those gut feelings we often ignore.
It's like they're sending us cosmic memos and we're over here checking our inboxes for something a little less subtle. But if we learn to tune in, those messages might be a lot more frequent than we realize.
That's a great point. The book really emphasizes that guardian angels respect our free will.
Okay.
They're not there to micromanage our lives,
Okay.
but rather to gently nudge us towards our highest good.
So less puppet master, more like a cosmic GPS system.
Right.
That makes me wonder if our guardian angels are always trying to kind of guide us in this way. Does the book say anything about how we can make ourselves more receptive to their messages?
It does. And this is where things get really interesting.
So we've got these guardian angels, these subtle guides, always in our corner.
Yeah.
But how do we actually tune in? Is there a way to make that connection a little stronger, a little clearer?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the book suggests that it's less about these grand gestures
Okay.
and more about just cultivating a sense of open awareness in our everyday lives.
Oh, hey.
Like really paying attention to those whispers of intuition,
Okay.
the dreams that kind of linger even after we're awake, the synchronicities that feel like more than just coincidence.
It's about becoming more attuned to those subtle ways that guidance might be showing up, rather than expecting a billboard from the heavens.
Exactly. Think of it like learning a new language.
Okay.
At first, it might just seem like a jumble of sounds.
Right.
But the more you immerse yourself, the more those sounds start to form patterns, then words, and eventually whole conversations.
So paying attention is key.
Yeah.
But does the guidebook get into specifics? Are we talking meditation, dream journals, carrier pigeons?
A little bit of everything. It talks about meditation as a way to kind of quiet the mind
Okay.
and create space for those subtle impressions to come through.
Okay.
Journaling is a big one, too, as a way to capture those dreams
Right.
and track those recurring themes or symbols that might hold personal meaning for you.
It's like piecing together this cosmic puzzle, one dream symbol, one gut feeling at a time. But for those of us who, prefer a more direct approach, can you just pick up the phone and call your guardian angel?
Well, the book does mention a method for more directly summoning your guardian angel.
Wait, really? Like a celestial bat signal? What does it say?
Well, it's less about the visual spectacle and more about creating this focused intention.
Okay.
So the book suggests finding a quiet space, lighting a candle to symbolize illumination,
Yeah.
and then actually writing down your request on a piece of paper.
Okay, so far so good. I've lit candles for less pressing matters. What's next?
Then you read your request aloud, really pouring your heart into it.
Okay.
And then you burn the paper in the candle flame.
Huh.
It's the symbolic act of releasing your request to the universe, trusting that it'll be heard.
It's like sending a message in a bottle, but instead of tossing it out to sea, you're sending it heavenward. But how do you know if your guardian angel got the message?
That's where faith and trust come in, you know?
Okay.
The book reminds us that our guardian angels are always with us, guiding us, supporting us,
Okay.
even if their presence isn't always like super obvious.
Right.
It's about staying open to the possibility of their influence and trusting that the answers we seek will kind of reveal themselves in their own time.
So less about instant gratification and more about cultivating a sense of patient awareness.
Precisely. And it's worth remembering that our guardian angels aren't there to just grant our every whim.
Right.
Their guidance is about helping us align with our highest good,
Right.
even if that path looks different from what we might have imagined for ourselves.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've explored the history, the hierarchies, the personal connections.
Yeah, we really went
We even touched on how to reach out and strengthen that bond with our own guardian angels.
really fascinating stuff.
It really is. So to our amazing listeners, I want to leave you with this final thought. If you could have a conversation with your guardian angel,
Yeah.
what would you ask? What guidance would you seek? Keep that question close to your heart, and who knows, the answer might just reveal itself when you least expect it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into those mysteries that surround us.